tameable beasts, a sandbox player created area, and the PC launch controversy. We have a lot to talk about in this one. What's up, brothers? We'll be breaking into the video, and today we got a special one for you because we're going to talk about all things Hogwarts Legacy, including the tameable beasts, and like I said, we got some PC drama, so let's just get on with the PC drama stuff. There is some stuff with the launch times. I know a couple people have already probably covered this already, but there's a few things that I do want to talk about that haven't been really discussed. So first we'll go over, there's a post on Reddit, and they're basically talking about the treatment of PC players, and they said that we don't get any Felix Felicius potions, we're not getting any Haunted Hogsmeade shop quest, we don't even get to preload the game. So as of right now, we cannot preload Hogwarts Legacy, and it's like 80 gigabytes, and this is gonna take, I mean, for me, like, I even have like somewhat decent internet, and it's gonna take me about 6 to 8 hours. Now, some people have a lot faster internet nowadays, some people have like gigabit internet. I don't have that, but I just have like standard stuff. But I can't imagine people that have like 10 megabit internet or even lower, it's gonna take them like over a day. So this whole 72 early access thing is like not really 72 hours, it's more like 48 or 24 depending on your internet. Now, additionally, with no preloading, we actually get the game 13 hours later, which is insane that that's how it's going to be. And like I said, it's going to take me like 6 to 8 hours, so I'm getting the game like between 19 to 21 hours after all the consoles. And that's just kind of ridiculous because there's no reason why we shouldn't be on the same global release cycle as the console. In fact, most games I can think of, aside from maybe I think Call of Duty had a different time on PC, I think the PC release was a little bit slower, but the excuse there was that they had Battle.net to worry about. This one is only Epic Games and Steam, and that's my next thing I want to talk about Steam, because everybody's blaming Steam. Everybody's like, oh man, Steam just has to release it at 12 GMT or 6 GMT, whatever it is, in like 12 Universal Time, and it's like, no, actually, Steam has a policy. They do not control the release time. In fact, they can basically essentially set the release time to any time at all. So this has nothing to do with Steam. Steam gives you the entire laydown on how to essentially release your game, and that you can literally do almost any time. You can just release your game whenever. You can literally just hit publish. You can push the button and it'll be uploaded. And so there's no issue there as far as what Steam is doing. It's literally all on Warner Brothers just not wanting to push the button and not wanting to launch it at the same time. Now, I don't know what the given reason for this is, if they're worried about the crack stuff. I know I had a video the other day about all the cracking stuff, and the girl that said that she's going to crack it said she can do it in 10 days. So maybe they're trying to limit that as long as possible. I still don't see why that would do anything or why that's going to affect anything at all. Again, usually that doesn't really affect sales. A good example would be to look at Cyberpunk. It didn't affect sales at all. Cyberpunk didn't have any de novo or any DRM capability. In fact, it was cracked on day one. You look at their sales numbers, it's clear that not enough people cracked it. They had almost 20 million in sales just in September, so I'm sure those are numbers that Warner Brothers is looking for as well. But regardless, they're delaying the launch for whatever reason. If it's because of the cracks going around or whatever it is, that's why they're doing it. I will note that the game is actually $10 more on the consoles for whatever reason, and it is $10 cheaper on PC. So there is that we have to look forward to, and we do play at higher graphic fidelity and better frame rates, and we have DLSS. FSR is pretty bad comparative to the implementation on consoles. FSR on PC isn't absolutely horrible, but the current console implementation is pretty bad. In fact, I'll even show up a video where the FSR looks absolutely terrible. When you're like flying around on the consoles in Hogwarts Legacy, there is so much like smearing between the broom and the player model. There's smearing everywhere, and that's just a note of FSR. It's just not as good as DLSS, whereas DLSS, you're not going to have that sort of drag like that. Especially in the newer version, it's very, very dialed down and a lot better. So, I mean, there is that with PC. We do get better stuff like that. So there is like a little bit. I think it just sucks that we're not able to play the game, or at least preload the game. And they can hide the EXE, and then all the files can't be getting into. So there is a few things there. But in any case, we'll move on from it. And just hopefully maybe they either let us preload, or we're just going to have to deal with the 13-hour delay. But we do got to talk about the Vivarian gameplay today. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so my bad. But this does look like some sort of sandbox player base area that you can kind of design, and there's also tameable beasts. This does look pretty interesting. There's a few things in this gameplay that I do want to talk about, and that is there's these like little box setups that you can get your, looks like beast treats from. There's also what seems to be a toy chest that has a bunch of different toys in there. It looks like you can play with your beasts with, which is kind of cool, the ones that you tame. And they seem like they range, I think they purposefully showed like a really, really small creature, and probably the biggest one that you can tame. It was kind of showing like the diversity of it, and there is quite a diversity. I mean, the one beast is huge, and the other one is really, really tiny. So there's definitely a lot of diversity there as far as like tameable pets and things of that nature. Now, they did actually show you playing with the toys, so it's possible you can shoot a ball around and things of that nature. There was another box, or another little menu that popped up, rather, that allowed you to place items. There was something called a beast feeder, and there was another beast item there, so that was kind of cool to see that you can kind of, like, entertain and not just have them, like, sit there and do nothing. Like, there's a lot of different things that you can do with these type of beasts that you can tame or control or whatever it is. And then it was kind of cool, they showed off the ability to actually rename your beast. So I thought that was kind of cool. You can name your beast whatever you want. It seems like, I mean, maybe there's like a filter for certain languages, but it seems like you can name your beast and they have different attributes. And it looks like, from what I'm seeing, like this little menu here, this green-ish food plate and this little green icon, I would assume maybe these go red when they're hungry, or maybe orange if they get a little bit more hungry. Maybe that's something, there's some mechanic there, because I think the green just signifies that they're all good to go. Wonder how that's going to play in. We also have some other things here with just like placing objects in trees and all little things of that nature. Now, the player area looks decently big. I actually kind of like that it's not like flat planed and there's like rocks and stuff, and it kind of looks all different. There's a bunch of trees. Now, we did see at near the very end here, it says object not inside playable space. So he was trying to put a tree a little bit outside. There's like a river. So I think the river kind of signifies where the player area is and where you can put things down inside. And it looks like you can put down a ton of trees. It doesn't look like there's like any limit to how many trees you can place down. It shows you a bunch of different options with like saplings and stuff. Not seeing any like actual display of like an actual build limit here, but there probably is one. I would assume eventually you're going to run into a cap. Maybe not though. Maybe they figured out how to have like a ton of objects in a singular space. I know Halo had a lot of times had like build limits, and a lot of the sandbox games that you've played usually have build limits, aside from like maybe Minecraft. Now, it does look like you'll need something called Moonstone that they're collecting even around their base that lets you put down these beast feeders and things of that nature. Now, I didn't see anything that signifies you need anything for the trees. I think it's just for like the actual main stuff that you're using to entertain your beasts or feed them in that nature. And it does look like you can change the size of any object here, or even the statue got changed size. I know they made the tree bigger earlier, so there's a lot of cool things here. There was like some, I wonder if the statue has attributes, although it didn't showcase anything. It might just be like your symbol that you want for your player base. But it does look like we have 4 different choices here. I wonder if we'll be any more than that, but it does look like there's one option that's not an animal or not a statue of an animal that was showcased earlier that was swapped out for the eagle one. But I do hope we have a little bit more diversity in all the objects, and it's not just 4 objects for each selection tray. Hopefully there's a lot more to collect, or there's more in the paging. But that does about cover it for this video. I wanted to cover both of those things. I know I was a little late on the PC drama stuff, but I still wanted to cover it because my video yesterday about De Novo. In any case, if you enjoyed the video, I'd like to like and subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.